Hi guys, this video is all based on braking, how to brake fast and deep into a corner in the safest possible way, and how to position your body on the bike as well. So I'll get on the bike for this one. So braking into any of the corners. Now, depending on which direction you're going, so sometimes you might be braking as you're tipping into a corner. So if you are, it's perfectly safe to be hanging off the bike whilst you're on the brake. So hanging off the bike and braking is totally safe to do that. Now, as I said in my body position video, as long as you're forwards in the tank and you've got your outside leg gripping you on the tank, then you will always feel at one with the bike, okay? So braking in general, if you're coming down a big long fast straight and you're flat out and you're braking into a slow corner or a fast corner and you're coming from sort of 180 miles an hour, generally for me, I always get more comfort being forwards up against the tank, and I'll get off the side of the bike ready for the corner, whichever it is I'm coming to. But generally, this inside leg, I will tuck it into the bike and push it against the frame or the tank, and just use that as an extra little grip to position myself. Now, when I'm braking, I don't necessarily hold the handlebars really tight. Yeah, of course, you've got to pull the brake lever and use as much pressure as required, but you don't have, there's no benefit to holding onto handlebars really tight. So one of the key things when you're braking, especially from a big long straight and you're downshifting your gears, make sure you downshift the gears nice and spaced out. Don't panic and knock the gears down like bam bam bam, because the chances are you're gonna, one, you won't do your engine any good, and two, the back wheel will be trying to lock up on you, especially if you don't have a slipper clutch. So try and space your gear shifts out, so bam bam bam, nice and slow, which will make your braking nice and smooth into any corner, whether it be again a fast or a slow corner. As I said, if it's a right-hander and I'm off the right-hand side of the bike, I'll be braking nice and relaxed, get my chest up so all the wind and the air is hitting my chest, and also from being tucked down to sitting right up, that's a good indication to people behind you on track that you've hit the brakes, so they can see that you're on the brakes. As I said, this inside leg is always the one that braces myself up against the side of the bike because I'm hanging off it. Generally, when I do brake hard, the forks obviously compress as much as possible. If your forks are bottoming out and you're using all of the travel, chances are is your fork springs are far too soft, or there's not enough oil in your forks, or your forks generally just need a good service, or stiffening up with the clicker. So my advice to you, if this is the case, is see a suspension technician, and generally they will do whatever is required to make sure that you've got that support from your front forks to give you the support from braking. If your forks are hitting the bottom of the stroke and there's no stroke left, what will happen then is there's nothing left, there's no movement left for the fork, so therefore you're then pushing the tyre. Now, that's when people lock the front tyre up in a straight line, is because they've run out of travel and the forks are hitting the bottom of the travel, they're hitting the bottom of the stroke, and then you're using then the tyre, and that's when you start to lock the tyre up. So we don't want to do this. So obviously front fork suspension setup is key to good, hard, heavy braking safely. But you can do basic, simple things with your body on the bike to make yourself comfortable under heavy braking. One of the key things that I come across when I'm coaching on track is a lot of riders don't feel comfortable hanging off the bike when they're braking. But what you must remember, guys, is when you're braking into any particular corner, especially chicanes and stuff, if you're not hanging off the bike, so if you climb back into the middle of the bike, do all your braking in a straight line, let go of the brake and then jump off the bike, again, that's too late. You need to be off the bike way before you get to the corner. So it is perfectly okay to hang off the side of the bike whilst you're braking, even if you're braking heavy. you will only get confidence to go into the corners fast and safe by this body weight being off the side of the bike. So just remember that. Don't feel you've got to get back in the middle of the bike just because you're hitting the brakes hard, and then when you're going to tip in, let go of the brake, then get off the bike again. Okay, it's perfectly okay and perfectly normal to hit the brakes whilst you're hanging off the side of the bike. That's pretty much it on braking. As I said, trail braking, the more you brake into the corners, the more lean angle you run, then the more you release the brake. But that is a very, very fine art to get right, and as I said, after 20 years of racing, I still didn't master it. I was still getting it wrong and took on the front in areas and crashing and wrecking bikes. So just be careful on the trail braking. Braking upright in a straight line, generally, as long as you've got yourself braced and you've got good heat in your tyres, your tyre pressures are good, and your forks aren't bottoming out, then there's a lot of area of speed to be made up in a straight line braking. So a lot of people can really test themselves on the brake, especially in a straight line. So don't be afraid to try. And again, I keep saying it, the easiest way, the safest way to be gauged on your braking, again, is tuition. There's nothing like having a rider coach behind you to be able to judge and gauge if you're being very cautious in the braking zones and braking areas when there's a lot of room for improvement, and having a rider coach tell you to give you that confidence that you can improve your braking is definitely the easiest and safest way to improve braking. Okay, good luck in that area, guys.